Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, welcome to International Conference on Digital Diplomacy, ICDD 2021. ICDD is a follow-up event of the Regional Conference on Digital Diplomacy, or RCDD, which has been successfully hosted by Indonesia on the 19th of September 2019. The order of ICDD will consist of opening session, followed by countries reviews and 4 panel discussion held simultaneously discussing the topics of the following. First, inclusive digital economy, benefits and challenges. Second, digital innovation for the SMEs. The third, making sense data and digital diplomacy. And the last, big data and crisis management. I would like to thank Your Excellencies and distinguished ladies and gentlemen for extending ICDD 2021. Ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let us present to you the opening video of ICDD.
Many elements of life have been impacted by the advancement of information and communication technology. Diplomacy, as a tool of foreign policy, is also transformed by this development. It is therefore timely for the word digital to go hand in hand with diplomacy. Such development has not only opened up a wide variety of new opportunities, but also new challenges. Those challenges became more apparent as we are facing the COVID-19 pandemic. We are compelled to face such a rapid pace of changes in our daily life. While our physical distance may be growing, our hearts seem to be getting closer. The collective ordeal has moved us to be more compassionate to ourselves and others. The pandemic has taught us that humans are hardwired to stay connected. As a form of communication, diplomacy has to adapt to these adjustments. Diplomacy has to remain agile, especially when confronted with restrictions, limitations, and unpredictability. The COVID-19 pandemic has shown the perils of a digital disinformation crisis. Efforts should therefore be focused to fight disinformation and establish dialogue, a genuine exchange of thoughts, experiences, and feelings between the people who are navigating through the same struggles, and also between those sharing the same joyful experiences, despite the unfortunate circumstances. Regardless of where we come from, there is a lot we can learn from one another. In these difficult situations, what role does diplomacy play? Through diplomacy, we can bring our hearts and minds closer and our friendships stronger. And through technology, what once seemed almost impossible to do is now attainable. Indonesia has advanced the idea of digital diplomacy on various issues, such as economics, politics, citizens' protection, sociocultural, and the utilization of big data in policy making. Before the COVID-19 pandemic, Indonesia has long emphasized the importance of digital diplomacy. Being adaptive to the current challenges and pandemic situation has therefore been one of Indonesia's strengths. It is our goal, through the International Conference on Digital Diplomacy, to expand and broaden the exchange of ideas, expertise, experiences, and seek new opportunities. Share mutual understanding for future cooperation in digital diplomacy, as well as strengthen solidarity among countries around the world based on mutual universal values. The International Conference on Digital Diplomacy is held to further promote and broaden the discussion that technology is a bridge that connects people and nations, which can strengthen the way we practice diplomacy. With the success of the Regional Conference on Digital Diplomacy in 2019, and the increasing importance and relevance of digital diplomacy and technology, we believe that such discussions should evolve and involve more stakeholders. ICDD will explore the theme of unmasking digital diplomacy in the new normal. Wearing masks has become an inseparable part of our everyday lives during the pandemic, the new normal, to protect ourselves and the people around us. With digital diplomacy, we can unleash our full potential to benefit everyone by unmasking any boundaries. It is now our call to seek opportunities for future cooperation. It is our time to create a plan of action for concrete cooperation and to conduct capacity building in digital diplomacy. Welcome to ICDD.
Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, that was the video on the advancement of information and communication technology, which has transformed our way of life, including the way we conduct diplomacy. Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, allow me now to kindly invite Minister for Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Indonesia, Her Excellency Retno Marsudi, to deliver the opening remarks.
Excellencies, distinguished participants, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the International Conference on Digital Diplomacy, or ICDD. Colleagues, our world today is different than it was 2 years ago, when we organized a regional conference under the same theme. The pandemic has changed the way we conduct diplomacy and forced us to rely more on technology. In all fairness, we have all been using digital diplomacy for quite some time, although mostly as a means of public diplomacy. But it was not until the pandemic struck that we truly embraced digital diplomacy. Indeed, for a large part of this pandemic, diplomacy had gone virtual, and it soon proved its worth. Now, world leaders do not have to travel to attend meetings. They can send pre-recorded speeches or deliver them virtually. The UN Security Council forwarded a resolution with email letters. COVAX managed to coordinate the delivery of nearly 450 million doses of vaccine around the world without resorting to physical meetings. Meanwhile, in Indonesia, online negotiation led to the finalization of Indonesia ROK CEPA and Indonesia Mozambique PTA. Excellencies, colleagues, ladies and gentlemen, for all its worth, diplomacy, digital diplomacy cannot yet replace face-to-face diplomacy. But digital diplomacy is here to stay, and the need for it will continue to increase. A hybrid use of in-person and digital diplomacy will be the new norm after the pandemic, and we have to be fully prepared for it. Today, I would like to suggest 3 important steps to move forward. First, strengthen trust in digital diplomacy. Colleagues, accelerated use of digital diplomacy must not sacrifice its safety and ethical aspect, especially with the participation of stakeholders beyond traditional diplomacy actors. Concern about cybersecurity, data privacy, and internet governance must be addressed to create a trusted digital diplomacy environment. With online platform, there should be transparency and agreement from the beginning on. Who are present? What sort of personal data is being collected, and whether the interaction would be recorded. This is particularly important when it comes to confidential meetings or discussion on delicate matters. Second, bridge gaps in digital diplomacy between countries. Colleagues, not all countries are adept at using digital diplomacy, let alone possess the required capacity and resources. Assistance should be provided for developing countries to strengthen their digital diplomacy infrastructure. This may include capacity building in digital literacy and skill, investment in affordable digital technology, and development of safe and secure online platforms. At the same time, we must learn from each other through exchanges of best practices and lessons learned on how to fully benefit from digital diplomacy. Third, use digital diplomacy to address global issues. Colleagues, we have to go beyond simply replicating traditional diplomatic activities in online platforms. Think big because there is a seemingly endless possibility. Indonesia, for instance, utilizes digital diplomacy for crisis management purposes by using a mobile app to expand our citizen service during this pandemic. Going forward, we could explore the use of artificial intelligence to analyze large data, such as trade patterns, policies of foreign countries, and news from around the world, to create a more responsive and informed foreign policy decision-making process. In the future, we might be using virtual reality to visit conflict zones or see the devastation caused by climate change to help us better understand the situation on the ground. Ladies and gentlemen, I believe it is critical also to use digital diplomacy for economic purposes. This is why I'm proud that in addition to the ICDD, we will also organize the ASEAN Creative Economy Business Forum, ICEBF, starting from today. The ACEBF represents Indonesia's contribution to the region's comprehensive economic recovery strategy. Digital diplomacy here may help creative economy actors penetrate the global market. We intend to promote and carry this issue forward in ASEAN and G20. And to conclude, I'm delighted that today we will have the opportunity to discuss ways and means to harness the full potential of digital diplomacy. I look forward to seeing productive discussion. And now I will be assisted by DG to officially open the ICDD.
Thank you, Your Excellency. How are you today?
Hi DG, I'm good and thank you very much. How about you?
I'm great, Your Excellency. May I now kindly invite Your Excellency to officiate the conference?
Of course, I'm pleased to announce that the International Conference on Digital Diplomacy is officially open.
Your Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to ICDD 2021. First of all, allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Digi, and I am the virtual chair of the country's review session. In this session, each country will be given the opportunity to deliver remarks regarding digital diplomacy. Our discussion will be on the experience in managing the crisis through diplomacy during the pandemic, and how to improve the use of digital diplomacy in trade, tourism, investment, and culture in the future. As a rule of proceedings, I would like to invite Your Excellencies to deliver your speech. To begin the session, I would like to invite the Minister for Foreign Affairs of Australia. Your Excellency, the screen is yours.
Greetings from Australia, and congratulations to Indonesia and to my friend Foreign Minister Marsudi for organising this important event. The COVID-19 pandemic has definitely changed the way we work. Traditional face-to-face meetings were replaced by virtual ones, making way for digital diplomacy to soar. Like all of us, I've adapted to this new virtual way of life. Over the course of the pandemic, I have recorded many video messages, such as this one today, and relied on social media to maintain close engagement with Australia's international partners and the Australian community. Policy making, including in foreign policy, was for a short time hampered by restrictions and unpredictability caused by the pandemic. However, digital technology has aided in breaking down those barriers. Harnessing this unprecedented technological change, adapting to its disruption, and leveraging opportunities will be vital to our region's economic and social recovery post-COVID. For Australia, cyberspace and critical technology is a top foreign policy priority. It's why I released our International Cyber and Critical Tech Engagement Strategy in April this year. Our goal in the strategy is for a safe, secure and prosperous Australia, Indo-Pacific and world enabled by cyberspace and critical technology. Australia also has a digital economy strategy which aims to make Australia a leading digital economy by 2030. Digital diplomacy is a powerful tool, but also presents challenges, including the timeliness, accuracy, and sheer amount of information that is dealt with each day. Throughout the pandemic, I've discussed with my counterparts, particularly the dangers of disinformation and misinformation about COVID-19 and vaccines. It must be countered with facts and transparency. This has included Australian support for the delivery of targeted social media messages to local communities in the region. We have also used our social media channels to highlight our vaccine deliveries and health support in the Indo-Pacific and to keep Australian travellers informed of developments in the pandemic. Through my own website and social media channels, my department's website and social media channels, we have provided comprehensive information on travel restrictions, risks and requirements. Since March of 2020, over 18 million people have accessed our Smart Traveller website. DFAT has also published more than 3,600 Facebook posts and tweets. As the world continues to reopen, digital diplomacy will remain important and will complement rather than replace face-to-face diplomatic engagement, which we are now, I'm pleased to say, able to start resuming. I look forward to continuing to work with my international partners to protect and promote an open, free and secure online environment for all to benefit.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Next, the Second Minister of Foreign Affairs of Brunei Darussalam. Your Excellency, the screen is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Your Excellency, Retno Marsudi, Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Indonesia, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, a very good afternoon from Brunei Darussalam. It is a pleasure to join everyone for this very relevant and timely conference, and I would like to thank the Government of Indonesia for the invitation to participate today. As ASEAN's chair, Brunei saw both the benefits and the limitations of digital diplomacy. On one hand, we were grateful to continue to pursue the finalization of our deliverables of this year and for the support of all our colleagues who had to bear with us through extensive preparations and virtual meetings. While we appreciated the convenience of virtual communications, many here today will agree it was not business as usual. Technical difficulties interrupted the flow of our discussions as we were forced to repeat ourselves, wave at each other without the assistance of eye contact and gestures to build understanding. There was also a lack of privacy, with our technical people standing by and an unknown audience off screen, as well as a constant concern over the security and integrity of our communication lines. All of these things inhibited discussions, impacting what would normally be frank and candid exchanges. We agreed that nothing can replace the intimacy of face-to-face and private conversations. This became particularly clear when we were confronted with sensitive matters, and today I would like to share my most recent experience in this. On the 1st of February 2021, just a month into Brunei Darussalam's chairmanship of ASEAN, a fellow member state experienced a political upheaval. At the time, many all over the world were in the midst of addressing the second or even third waves of COVID-19 infections in their countries. This did not diminish the readiness of ASEAN and the international community to help the people of Myanmar. However, it quickly became clear that efforts to diffuse the situation through a screen were not having the desired outcome. This was why on the 24th of April 2021, His Majesty the Sultan of Brunei and as ASEAN Chair convened a meeting at the ASEAN Secretariat in Jakarta. It was the first in-person ASEAN meeting at the leaders level since 2019. I believe that it was only because the leaders met Myanmar's representative in person that they were able to reach an agreement on the 5-point consensus. This consensus outlined ASEAN's step for returning normalcy to Myanmar in accordance with the will of its people. Since then, we have tirelessly engaged Myanmar on its implementation, and in August of this year, I was also appointed as the Special Envoy of the ASEAN Chair on Myanmar. As Special Envoy, I believe it was my duty to consult with all stakeholders on Myanmar. Almost all of these consultations were conducted virtually. Overall, digital diplomacy allowed me to engage widely in a short time, with over 60 Myanmar-focused engagements packed into just 2 months. This included fellow ASEAN member states, members of the international community, as well as regional and international organizations. However, these efforts were not without their limitations. Most importantly, I continue to believe that it is only possible to build the trust and confidence necessary for the parties concerned to engage in dialogue through physical meetings. This is why the 5-point consensus provides for the Special Envoy of the ASEAN Chair to make a visit to Myanmar to meet with all parties concerned in person. So even as my term as Special Envoy comes to an end, I will continue to make efforts to secure engagements with all parties concerned and fulfill the mandate of the 5-point consensus. Throughout my work, I also became very aware of the growing impact of social media, which is increasingly being utilized as public diplomacy tools. Going forward, we will need to be more aware of the effects this will have on our policy discussions, be it good or bad. Excellencies, if I were to sum up my experience over the past year, it would be mixed. I believe that while digital diplomacy has been crucial in ensuring the continuity of our bilateral and international relations, it is not a replacement for in-person engagement. At the same time, I also believe that we must not forget the lessons taught to us by the pandemic to ensure continuity for all our plans, no matter the situation. Looking ahead, it will be important to find a perfect balance between keeping our people safe and pushing ahead with future goals as we adjust to our ever-changing circumstances. I look forward to discovering this new world of diplomacy with all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Please welcome the Minister Delegate attached to the Prime Minister of the Kingdom of Cambodia. Your Excellency, the screen is yours.
Good afternoon, Her Excellency Retno Marsudi, Minister for Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Indonesia, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of His Excellency Praksakon, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, I would like to express my sincere thanks for your kind invitation to join this International Conference on Digital Diplomacy 2021. Diplomacy is rapidly evolving with the advancement of digital technologies like social media, AI, and blockchain. Just as intelligent technology is disrupting all sectors, from the way we distribute information, the way we receive information, to the way we interact with each other. These fundamental processes and interactions completely transform the landscape in which diplomats and world leaders communicate and interact in the big pictures of international relations. Social media platforms act as channels for communication, as well as vast sources of both relevant and fake news in real time. During this pandemic, multiple video calls and online conference platforms like this one enable ministers and leaders to communicate with each other in areas of strategic cooperation. The field of modern diplomacy and international cooperation has been completely shaken by the use of social media platforms and is continuing to change significantly as diplomats become more comfortable and accustomed to utilizing them in diplomacy. This new form of interaction in diplomacy will result in both positive and negative impacts in dealing with international relations. During times of urgency and crisis like this pandemic, world leaders are able to communicate faster and more directly through swifter than traditional hotlines. Not to say that social media platform will entirely substitute traditional means of communication, but the former provides an additional channel for diplomats to interact in certain situations. However, increasing digital communication comes with increasing cybersecurity challenges. Digital transformation is an enabler of economic diplomacy that includes key sectors like trade, investment, tourism, and even culture. For example, social media strongly and effectively strengthen tourist destination branding using food and cuisine images. In sum, as the world inevitably moves into the digital era, forms of modern diplomacy and international cooperation are evolving accordingly at a breathtaking speed. Regional and international dialogues are needed more than ever to make sure that intelligent technologies are used wisely in diplomacy for the best interests of humankind. Your Excellency Retno Marsudi, Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, may I wish you all a great and fruitful conference. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Next, I would like to invite the Minister for Foreign Affairs of Finland. Your Excellency, the screen is yours.
Madam Minister, Your Excellencies, distinguished participants. I am pleased to contribute to the International Conference on Digital Diplomacy 2021 as the theme of the event is very topical. The global pandemic has pushed us to take advantage of digital diplomacy. It has helped us realize that diplomacy is not only limited to face-to-face meetings. We have been offered new tools and approaches to international cooperation. During the past year and a half, many important international meetings, such as European Union ministerial meetings and meetings of many UN bodies and committees, have been organized successfully virtually. This has proved that digital diplomacy allows us to find new more inclusive ways of interaction while maintaining high level of confidentiality and trust. One example of successful digital diplomacy for Finland is the 2020 Afghanistan conference. The event took place in November 2020 and was co-hosted by the governments of Afghanistan and Finland with the United Nations. Around 70 countries, more than 30 international organizations and civil society representatives participated in the conference. Due to the serious COVID-19 situation in Geneva and a lockdown of the city, the conference took place virtually using technology to connect participants from all over the world and with only representatives of the three co-hosts gathered in the UN Palais des Nations in Geneva. The pandemic has forced us to find new methods of organizing our work and everyday routine, including diplomacy. The fast transition to digital platforms has challenged us to create new ways to interact, develop capacity, and promote digital trust and security. Finland looks forward to using the full potential of cooperation despite geographical distance. Today serves as a great example of that. I wish you all a successful event. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. For the next speaker, please welcome the Minister for Foreign Affairs of Malaysia. Your Excellency, the screen is yours.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Salam sejahtera. Yang Mulia Ibu Retno, Your Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, on behalf of the Government of Malaysia, I wish to congratulate Your Excellency Ibu Retno Marsudi and the Government of Indonesia for organizing this very timely international conference on digital diplomacy. In the context of the pandemic, there are two competing situations. On the one hand, the advent of technology, including digital technology, make it possible for us to meet in such a manner even though we are not physically meeting among ourselves. Secondly, there are people, because of the advent of technology, either by design or by default, they are involved in online activities, be it in commerce, be it in research and development, be it in education, and for all of us gathered in this conference on digital diplomacy. The Malaysian government has produced a clear roadmap and earmarked resources for developing the digital economy, because part of digital diplomacy, or the engine of digital diplomacy, besides meeting online, is digital economy. On February 2021, the government launched My Digital, which outlines plans to accelerate Malaysia's progress towards becoming a digitally driven, high-income nation and a regional leader in the digital economy. My Digital is expected to create 500,000 new jobs opportunities in the digital economy, which is expected to contribute 22.6% of Malaysia's GDP by 2030. In July 2021, the government launched the National Fourth Industrial Revolution Policy, or National 4IR Policy, which is a broad overarching national policy to boost the socio-economic development of the economy through the ethical use of 4IR technologies. Ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellencies, digital economy and digital diplomacy are like the two sides of the coin. On the one hand, it becomes the growth, the new growth area of our economy. The other side of the coin is it is the catalyst for furthering of digital economy. But one point that we have to take cognizance of is the fact that digital diplomacy involves the big players. Some of the big players have actually taken control many aspects of society, the economy, and national security that were long the exclusive preserve of government. In some cases, national icons, big companies in technology, in particular telecommunication, make decisions not only for profit purposes, but in many ways, these companies are increasingly shaping the global environment in which governments operate. These companies exercise a form of sovereignty over a rapidly expanding realm that extend beyond the reach of regulators. And welcome to the digital space, where digital economy become part of it. In this context, there are two areas that will influence the future of diplomacy through digital diplomacy and the advent of digital technology with the growth of digital economy. First, these big telcos do not operate or wield power exclusively in physical space like most of us diplomats do. They have created a new dimension in geopolitics, the digital space I was alluding to earlier, over which they exercise primary influence. And secondly, they are increasingly providing a full spectrum of both the digital and the real-world products that are required to run a modern society, and in some instances, better than some that government can contribute or provide. So, ladies and gentlemen, Your Excellencies, digital diplomacy is real. The advent of the technology is also real. And we should look forward to either we embrace digital diplomacy through digital technology in a way where government can function better, or unfortunately, the other side of it is we may be overtaken by time and government will have to compete with some of the big telcos of the world. I look forward to a very fruitful discussion. Thank you. Terima kasih.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Please welcome the Secretary of Foreign Affairs of the Philippines. Your Excellency, the screen is yours.
The world has turned digital from necessity, one of the pandemic's unintended consequences. But I am pretty sure the digital sector's long-held hope was for just this drastic opportunity. It was taking too long for enough people to learn digital superior advantages, cheaper and faster communication from anywhere to everywhere. A platform where you put your best foot forward because you have only so much time to make your case, because you have to stick around to watch and listen to all the others state their cases. No one leaves the room in a Zoom, except for a few minutes, and return visibly relieved or rubbing their hands together like after washing. Oddly, the distance not only lent enchantment to the view of each of us, but allowed us the luxury of peering undetected at the other's eyes for marks of sincerity or sarcasm. It has also taught us to get to the point. We all talk turkey today. Unnecessary travel is almost nil, while shorter regional travels more frequent, thereby increasing the intimacy, relevance, and power of regional associations. Over the course of close to 2 years of the pandemic, we have had more diplomatic interactions than the 2 years preceding. We have covered far more ground and done more than we expected. All of our work has been efficiently accomplished when we have shrunk the cost of doing diplomacy. The practices of diplomacy have evolved through history, but its core functions remain the same: representation and negotiation, conflict resolution or ultimatum, promotion and protection of national interest foremost, realism, not good feelings, reign supreme. Digital platforms let us do all that without the attendant stress, enabling greater sincerity yet self-restraint. Video conferencing is like television. It exaggerates your weight and your expression. Too much emphasis tips into the look of hysteria, Raising your voice comes across as panic or guilt. Video conferencing demands composure in expression and gesture. That requires confidence only preparation can impart. The elegant marks of true diplomacy. We are all turning into Metternichs. Cybersecurity will remain the central issue in digital discourse, with its allegedly increased power of exclusion, although how escapes me. What's so secret and exclusive about something all digital parties have a digital record of to share with the enemy? Everybody digitally present can record and reveal. So all told, digital is the best thing that's happened to diplomacy. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Next, please welcome the Minister for Foreign Affairs of Singapore. Your Excellency, the screen is yours.
Your Excellency, Ibu Retno Marsudi, Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Indonesia. Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to begin by congratulating Indonesia and, of course, Foreign Minister Ibu Retno Marsudi for hosting this international conference on digital diplomacy. Traditional diplomacy is built on human connection, rapport, mutual understanding. These are the foundations for goodwill and enablers of consensus. I still believe in the importance of traditional face-to-face interaction. I believe this is irreplaceable. But we all know that our life as diplomats has been radically transformed. Most recently, obviously, by COVID-19. But beyond that, also the fact that the digital revolution has been underway for quite some time now. And this current 2 years, in fact, has illustrated how important digitalization is. It has enabled us to continue to reach out to our friends and partners, to maintain ties, to enhance cooperation, and even to make progress on sensitive issues. So the fact that we can continue to convene international and regional meetings, such as the recently concluded ASEAN summits, to be able to tackle common challenges, including climate change, to deal with supply chain resilience, to facilitate humanitarian aid and vaccine multilateralism. All this we've been able to do, and to a very significant extent, empowered by digital technologies. Digital diplomacy in the face of crisis is not only about having virtual meetings, but really about solving problems. And to solve problems using digital solutions and not the other way around. So technology has facilitated Singapore's fight against COVID-19, and we are keen and willing to share our experience. To cite one example, our digital contact tracing system, Trace Together, has helped us in a very real way to save lives by shortening the time taken to locate and isolate close contacts of COVID-19 patients. Right from the beginning, we made a decision to make the source code freely available to developers around the world. And we did so in the spirit of openness, transparency, and collaboration. Because when dealing with issues like this, these are critical elements. Another example, to aid the safe resumption of international travel, we published Health Certs, a globally interoperable standard that allows the COVID-19 test results and vaccine certificates to be digitally endorsed, to be verified, and to be shared seamlessly across borders. COVID-19 has accelerated digitalization and the shift of our lives online. Whilst these technologies have empowered millions, the gulf of opportunities between the digital haves on one hand and the digital have-nots on the other hand has potentially widened. This digital divide has emphasized the disparities in access to education, healthcare, broadband, mobile connectivity, and other essential services. Going forward, we must turn our collective attention to closing this divide, to deal with the challenges of the digital commons, and to leverage technology for sustainable development. In other words, concerted multilateral action is absolutely essential. So to conclude, let me thank again Indonesia for your support for both digital diplomacy and for your deep, abiding belief in multilateralism and in cooperation across borders. As all countries work together to build resilience and to emerge stronger, I'm confident that we can overcome the pandemic and the other ongoing revolutions of our times together. Thank you all very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Next, I would like to invite the Minister for Asia, Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office of the United Kingdom. Your Excellency, the screen is yours.
As I speak to you today, I think of Lord Palmerston, one of the most famous Prime Ministers Britain has ever produced. He led the UK in the mid-19th century, when diplomacy was very different. It was a private affair. Elite diplomats spoke discreetly to one another in letters and face-to-face meetings. So Lord Palmerston was horrified when the electric telegraph service was pioneered in the 1850s. He declared, "This is the end of diplomacy," but of course he was wrong. And although I can't imagine what he would have made of Twitter, Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, they're some of the strongest diplomatic tools we have today. At the modern Foreign, Commonwealth and Development Office, we host hundreds of social media accounts representing ministers and our ambassadors around the world. Our creative digital content, including videos, pictures and infographics, reaches hundreds of thousands of people every week. That includes British citizens, foreign governments, campaigners and influencers. It helps us to promote our vision and values, to provide valuable information and support for British nationals overseas. Our digital channels have never been more important than during the COVID pandemic, when travel was severely disrupted and face-to-face meetings were not an option. Last May, posts on our main Facebook page giving up-to-date travel advice were reaching more than 9 million people. And we want to keep extending our reach, connecting with more and more people around the world. But although the pandemic has accelerated digital transformation, progress has been uneven across the globe. Almost half the world's people still don't have access to the internet, including 93% of households in least developed countries. Lack of skills and poor infrastructure are additional barriers, and digital exclusion only widens existing inequalities. We are determined to address this, and there is no better example than the work we're doing to support inclusive digital transformation here in Indonesia, a nation that has wired up impressively, but where there are still remote areas facing challenges. The COVID-19 pandemic has made it more vital than ever that people in such areas have access to digital skills, public services and health advice. The UK Digital Access Programme is training 4,000 people from South Sulawesi, East Nusa Tenggara and Papua on basic digital literacy to help boost their employment opportunities. This same programme is helping expectant and new mothers with routine health monitoring and consultations through an online platform. We will keep working together in innovative ways to boost digital connectivity. And as we do so, we'll democratise diplomacy, completing that journey which started 2 centuries ago. Diplomacy should be open to everyone. So as we embrace this new digital world and all the opportunities it brings, let me make sure we bring everyone with us.
Thank you, Your Excellency. Next, I would like to invite the Minister of Foreign Affairs of Vietnam. Your Excellency, the screen is yours.
Your Excellency Retno Marsudi, Minister of Foreign Affairs of Indonesia, Excellencies, Ministers, ladies and gentlemen. I wish to thank Minister Retno for inviting me to share my view on digital diplomacy at this important conference. This topic actually of great relevance today. I appreciate Indonesia's leadership and initiative in hosting this important event. The COVID-19 pandemic has radically changed the way we live, work, and interact. As travel restrictions and social distancing measures being enforced globally, digital technology has helped to keep the world connected and to maintain the global supply and production chains. The diplomatic service is no exception. Vietnam, like many countries, has stepped up the application of digital technology in conducting diplomacy with considerable success. We hold the view that foreign ministries should embrace this new opportunity with the following perspective in mind. First, digital diplomacy offers unprecedented degree of interaction, fosters understanding and trust, enabling countries to respond faster to rapidly changing events and coordinate better to address global challenges. Second, digital diplomacy allows more transparency and empower the people by giving them a voice. More transparency also helps to address the issue of misinformation and disinformation. Third, digital diplomacy can facilitate linkages of the digital economies, promoting innovation, thereby creating a fresh impetus for the post-pandemic recovery. Fourth, in ASEAN, digital diplomacy can help to optimize the use of time and resources in organizing the association's activities and allows greater participation of ASEAN's partners in ASEAN process, as we have done successfully in 2020 and in 2021. Of course, digital diplomacy does not go without risks. Therefore, we need to constantly enhance cybersecurity measures to ensure the safe conduct of digital diplomacy. Ladies and gentlemen, with a view to seizing opportunities and overcoming challenges, it is important to enhance dialogues and step up the sharing of experiences and best practices in implementing digital diplomacy strategies. I wish the conference a great success. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency. To extend the conference, the Foreign Affairs Undersecretary, Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Chile. Your Excellency, the screen is yours.
We would like to thank the government of Indonesia, through its Minister of Foreign Affairs, Excellency Retno Marsudi, for the opportunity to share with you some thoughts and reflections on digital diplomacy, a subject with broad perspectives and projections. Like the rest of the world, Chile has been affected by the unprecedented pandemic of the COVID-19, which caused devastating economic, social, and health effects for our nationals. Nonetheless, far from slowing down or postponing Chile's digital progress, the pandemic made us realize the importance of promoting digital modernization, adaptability, and technological transformation. Since 2019, Chile implemented a digital transformation law, which constitutes a great framework and action guide in matters of digital transformation of the states in three fundamental axes: digital identity, zero-row state, and zero-paper state. Therefore, Chile has been working in recent years in an institutional framework within which digital diplomacy is a part. It has at least two basic objectives. First, use of new technologies and create new methodologies and ways of working to fulfill the objectives of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs. And second, promote work with the new economic and scientific actors related to the world of high-tech, entrepreneurship, and disruptive technologies or organisms arising from new technologies. Likewise, the emergence and development of digital diplomacy present us with the simultaneous challenge of serving a better global internet governance and digital globalization. The geographical distance between foreign ministries, embassies, and missions, state and non-state actors is much less relevant today than it was before the pandemic. the speed of communications with a multiplicity of actors in matters of competence of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Chile acquired significant importance for the contribution to the development of the country. We are certain that globalization has overcome of space and time. In this long month of the pandemic, our work has not been interrupted thanks to the use of new technological tools. Until now, we held 35 consultation and political dialogue meetings with foreign ministries from 5 continents, continued negotiating and signing international political and commercial instruments, continued the regular training course for young Chilean and foreign diplomats taught by our Diplomatic Academy of Chile, and extended the use of various digital forms. In addition, we created a digital platform called the Consular Contact Center, which allows us to assist thousands of Chilean nationals and foreigners to assist their return to Chile or to their countries of origins in time of flight cancellations and restrictions on human mobility. In fact, it has been a period of extraordinary learning. Many of the innovations implemented and the instruments used are here to stay. Assuming the above, and considering that one of the objectives of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Chile is to enhance our foreign policy in matters of digital diplomacy, the creation of a consultative council for digital diplomacy is being studied. Its task will be to issue opinions and recommendations that enrich the public management and the actions of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Chile in this matter. With this measure, we hereby highlight that technological advances and digital diplomacy represent important opportunities for development and innovation through the incorporation and adaptation of initiatives and projects based on the using of cutting-edge technologies. We would like to reiterate our interest involving with practices and experiences to be shared, as well as conclusions that will be reached in this conference. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. For the next speaker, I would like to invite the representative of People's Republic of China. The screen is yours.
Your Excellency, Madam Retno Marsudi, honorable guests of other countries, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. I feel very honored today for being invited to participate in the international conference on digital diplomacy as the head of Chinese delegation. Digital technology as the main driver of the new science, technology, and industry revolution promotes the development and evolution of diplomacy forms against the background of the global breakout of COVID-19. Digital diplomacy or cloud diplomacy plays a significant role. China attaches great importance to the development of digital technology and the economy. As President Xi Jinping points out, digital technology with its new ideas and models has been fully integrated into economy, politics, culture, and other aspects of human life. For now, the digital industry in China grows steadily, where the digitalization of industries accelerates through industrial transformation and upgrade driven by innovative digital technology. During COVID-19 pandemic, cloud diplomacy plays a significant role in China's interaction with the world. This year, 2021, till the end of October, President Xi has met with foreign leaders for 84 times and attended 25 bilateral and multilateral meetings online. The Ministry of Foreign Affairs of China also makes the best use of digital technology in diplomacy. It's estimated that IFA has held nearly 1,000 online video meetings of different levels this year. For the Winter Olympics to be held in Beijing, we also integrated digital technologies to develop Winter Olympic app that can cater to the need of foreigners visiting China during the Olympics. China has always been advocating deepening international exchange and cooperation in cyberspace, working with all parties to bring global internet development to a higher level. On the 16th G20 Leaders Summit, President Xi pointed out that G20 should shoulder responsibility in the digital era, quickening the development of new types of digital infrastructure, promote deeper integration of digital technologies with the real economy, and help developing countries eliminate the digital divide. China has put forth the global initiative on data security. We may discuss and develop international rules for digital governance with all sides. China has decided to apply to join the Digital Economy Partnership Agreement. China stands ready to work with all parties for the healthy and orderly development of digital economy. Digital diplomacy helps with crisis response and management in many ways. For instance, against the background of global pandemic, digital diplomacy helps with consular protection. From the beginning of April 2020, MFA of China first launched the health declaration certificate to 27 relatively high-risk countries. Travelers need to complete the health check-in for 14 consecutive days to get the green health code required to come to China. This is the latest practice of combining digital technologies with consular protection. Digital technology expands the dimensions of diplomacy and boosts transformation and upgrade diplomacy. We hope to jointly promote digital diplomacy as a force to reduce misunderstandings between countries and people, enhance international cooperation, and build up the community with a shared future for mankind. The 6th plenary session of the 19th Central Committee of CPC has just successfully concluded. The session comprehensively reviewed the party's major achievements and the historical experience over the past century. China has set out on the new journey toward the second centenary goal and will make greater contributions to the cause of mankind progress and world peace and security. Thank you.
Thank you. For the next speaker, I would like to invite the representative of Fiji. Your Excellency, the screen is yours.
Chair, with all protocols observed, it gives me great pleasure on behalf of the Fijian government to share a few thoughts on the topic of discussion this afternoon on digital diplomacy and a new era of opportunity under the main theme of the conference, Unmasking Digital Diplomacy in the New Normal. For the Fijian government and Fiji as a whole, the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic has already brought about a new wave of change in the way we normally do business. It has no doubt created a shift in the usual business paradigm we are familiar with pre-COVID, and we know it is here to stay. As a small island developing state in the vast Blue Pacific, and attributed in the main to our geographical challenges as a maritime nation, Fiji fully recognizes the new opportunities presented through the enhancements of digital connectivity to deliver our national development priority goals. Digital diplomacy, through smart and renewed cooperation, therefore to effectively address these challenges, and in a large measure driven by technological advances and internet connectivity, is key in this endeavor. Chair, the COVID-19 pandemic have forced changes in our business models out of necessity to survive the new normal. It requires a renewed framework of engagement and cooperation to transition us into the long term, leaving no one behind. During the pandemic, the normal modus operandi has been largely defined around the use of technology and digital platforms and its numerous plethora. Digital tools such as government social media accounts and the use of government websites assisted greatly towards our attempts to enhance digital diplomacy. We can also attest to the increased frequencies of video conferencing platforms and diplomacy practices between parties. Chair, in an economy driven largely by tourism, pre-COVID, the Fijian tourism industry contributed close to 40% of the GDP, bringing in an estimated $3 billion in revenue in 2019. With the pandemic, what that meant was close to 1/3 of our GDP lost. Chair, I am pleased to inform that Fiji is ready to welcome the world back from 1st December 2021. The Fijian government has taken progressive steps to ensure we are ready to allow visitors to Fiji without compromising health. We are therefore convinced that a major driver for this growth moving on into the future will be digital diplomacy. We will learn from this conference to explore new opportunities of doing business via digital means in ensuring Fiji seizes the opportunities created through digital diplomacy. Our experience now is that travel and transportation is now being largely defined by the use of artificial intelligence and digital technologies such as apps, barcodes, e-passports, banking systems, transportation. Businesses, consumers, and the general Fijian population have embraced digitalization accelerated by the onset of the COVID-19 pandemic. From a Fijian perspective, therefore, digital technology will need to be reshaped, revitalized, and re-enhanced to be in time and online with the fast developing global trends. Working with our private sector, the Fijian government has also engineered efforts towards creation of progressive business environment. We have streamlined business procedures, undertaken legislative reforms, and adapted to digitalization of systems and processes. Chair, from a diplomacy standpoint, the new normal has surely brought with it new perspectives and dimensions. Meetings that were attended in the face-to-face platforms is now attended to virtually. Negotiations, meetings, conferences, and diplomatic engagements such as National Day celebrations and presentations of credentials that used to be conducted physically and face-to-face are now being replaced via virtual connectivity. Whilst we cannot deny the effectiveness or the importance of normal protocols of meeting face-to-face, there are visible challenges experienced through virtual engagements, and as such, it demands that we restructure the normal way of conducting diplomatic engagements. Increasingly, regional and multilateral meetings such as the UNGA and the recent COP26 in Glasgow, and this particular forum that we are currently engaged in, meetings have offered hybrid versions that allow participants and delegates to choose between attending physically or virtually. In short, irrespective of size, the conduct of foreign policies, including my own Fiji, will now have to be rehashed in its delivery mode to also factor in the use and enhancement of digital technologies and to bolster the interplay and effectiveness of our foreign policy deployments. In countries such as Indonesia, where digital technology is largely connected to the normal way of life, and where approximately 191 million people have access to the internet in 2021, its focus on the green economy, blue economy, and digital economy will surely propel Indonesia to becoming one of the world's top 10 economies by 2030, and concurrently making it to the top 4 by 2045. We believe that the influence of digital technology is bound to play a vital role in this development trajectory. Fiji stands to gain as it learns from these experiences of the Indonesian government. In Fiji alone, 380,125 people have access to the internet, and government is making considerable efforts to connect our rural communities using the internet for business developments and opportunities. This not only goes to show the disparity, not only in our population size, but also in the level of exposure to the internet and its usage. Chair, digital diplomacy will be the dominant platform of engagements amongst countries and groups of countries in the near future. For a small nation like Fiji, to seize these new opportunities, meaningful cooperation with all our development partners is pivotal for us. For instance, with the provisions of digital infrastructures, technology, and technical capacity building, we need them to assist us in this regard. The world is now more connected than ever, and we cannot afford to be left behind in this development. I trust that as an outcome of this conference, Fiji and other small island states from the Pacific shall gain new momentums through enhanced regional collaboration and networks on digital diplomacy for our long-term sustainable development. Chair, in conclusion, let me reiterate my sincere thanks to you and the Indonesian government for the opportunity rendered to me and my delegation to participate in this international conference on digital diplomacy. It is a very timely conference, might I add, and we look forward to your unyielding support, collaboration, and partnership towards our endeavors. Terima kasih banyak. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency. The next speaker, I would like to invite the representative of India. The screen is yours.
Namaste from India. Ladies and gentlemen, greetings from the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, Government of India. It gives me great pleasure to address this international conference on digital diplomacy. Today's era belongs to digital technologies. Adoption and use of new and emerging technologies is the new way of life. This event itself is a vivid example of use of technologies. Nowadays, we can connect and communicate both in physical as well as in digital mode, and therefore today's world can be termed as a phygital world. Government of India has pioneered the use of digital technologies and digital platforms to engage with the public. We have efficiently incorporated new technologies in our working. These technologies and platforms have proved to be of immense help in shaping up the narrative and connecting with Indian diaspora, and also extending support in crisis situations. Against the common belief of digital divide, India has proved that technology is for inclusion. Foreign relations in this modern age have been revolutionized by the information and communication technologies, and every aspect is getting impacted by the digital economy, trade, and governance. The relations between countries would largely depend on their understanding of the activities in the digital ecosystem. That is why today's era can be called the era of digital diplomacy. ICTs have revolutionized the way people communicate and exchange information. The changing political, social, and economic landscapes across the globe. ICTs are offering the developing countries a window of opportunities so as to leapfrog the industrialization stage and transform their economies into high value added information economies that can compete with the advanced economies in the global market. Technological innovation has contributed to globalization by supplying infrastructure for trans-world connections, and countries of the world cannot afford to miss out on the opportunities these technologies are creating. Data has become the single most important factor in the world based on internet and the emerging technologies. Flow of data is inevitable in this kind of a scenario. Most countries are developing their own policy space in the field of data and its protection, which will largely govern the diplomacy in the years to come. I am sure that this conference will come up with very constructive ideas and solutions for international cooperation based on digital diplomacy. With these words, I wish this event a grand success and thank you for providing this opportunity.
Thank you. Next, please welcome the representative of Japan. The screen is yours.
I am Miyake Shingo, Parliamentary Vice Minister for Foreign Affairs of Japan. Thank you very much for inviting me today. It is very meaningful for us to discuss and share experiences regarding digitalization of economic and social activities during the COVID-19 pandemic. I would like to sincerely express my appreciation to Minister Rutno for hosting this conference. As digitalization continues, we are facing challenges such as rulemaking and human resources development. Today, let me take this opportunity to introduce Japan's effort to address those challenges. Under the new administration led by Prime Minister Kishida, Japan aims to realize a new capitalism based on the principle of the virtuous cycle of growth and distribution that can increase income and ensure that everyone benefits from economic growth. As a part of this initiative, rulemaking on data flow and e-commerce, which are the engine of growth in the era of digitalization, is an urgent issue. Toward a realization of the concept of data-free flow with trust, Japan launched Osaka Track as a G20 summit in Osaka and has been leading international rulemaking in e-commerce negotiations, including TPP-11 agreement and WTO. In addition, the RCEP agreement, which will enter into force on January 1st next year, is expected to be an important step towards a desirable economic order of the region by promoting the development and use of e-commerce. Furthermore, improving cybersecurity capacity is also important. Japan established the ASEAN-Japan Cybersecurity Capacity Building Center for Human Resource Development on the cybersecurity capabilities in ASEAN. The center conducts cybersecurity exercises, including cyber defense exercise with recurrence and competitions of cyber attack handling that promotes the ability of young engineers and students selected from ASEAN member states. The activities of the center are continuing by organizing online exercises from November 2020 in order to achieve its goals of training more than 700 cybersecurity specialists in the region. As we face remarkable changes in the environment of digitalization, I am looking forward to learning and utilizing good practices of our partners for Japan's diplomacy. Once again, I am grateful for the invitation to take part in this timely and meaningful conference. Thank you.
Thank you. For the next speaker, I would like to invite the representative of Lao People's Democratic Republic. Your Excellency, the screen is yours.
Her Excellency Retno Marsudi, Minister of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Indonesia. distinguished participants, first of all, I would like to thank the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Indonesia for inviting me to take part in this conference. Digital technology has become intrinsic part of all area of life, whether it be professional, educational, trade, business, transaction, diplomacy, and personal daily life, especially during the COVID-19 pandemic, when face-to-face interaction is something we all try to avoid for our health safety reason. In addition, digital technology also play an increasing role in economic development through accelerating innovation and enhancing supply chains. Significantly, digitalization leads to internationalization of industries and better trade relations. Consequently, it has been included in various policy initiatives of numerous governments. Furthermore, digital technology can allow people across the world to stay virtually connected even in the time of crisis, in the condition that internet connection is available. Consequently, it has been utilized as an essential tool for diplomacy by countries around the world. However, the benefits of digital technology are not straightforward to be gained. It is because there are still challenges that need to be addressed. These include digital gaps between developed and developing countries, as well as between urban and rural areas, the inadequate ICT-related infrastructure, the lack of legal framework, norms, and system, network security and data security, which hinder countries, including Laos, from utilizing digital technology in all areas of work, including foreign affairs. Therefore, to address these challenges, I have few recommendations as follows. First, accelerate investment in the development of digital infrastructure to create enabling environment for digitalization to thrive. Second, create and enhance legal framework which will need to be effectively implemented to increase confidence in digital system and to ensure cyber security. Third, it is imperative to invest in digital education so as to ensure all groups in society, regardless of sizes and socioeconomic statuses, will be able to participate in and benefit from digitalization. Otherwise, digital divide will be widened. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Excellency. For the next speaker, the representative of the Republic of Korea. The screen is yours.
Excellencies, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it is an honor to participate in this important conference, which aims to promote international cooperation in the field of digital diplomacy. And I am grateful for Indonesia's initiative in organizing this relevant event. The COVID-19 pandemic has accelerated digital transformation in all aspects of our lives, which has brought opportunities and challenges for diplomacy as well. I would like to introduce best practices of Korean's digital diplomacy for three different perspectives. First, the Korean Ministry of Foreign Affairs has actively utilized the digital technologies to provide consular assistance for crisis prevention and response in more innovative way. Now, Korean travelers automatically receive emergency consular service contact number from Korean government through their mobile message as soon as their airplanes touch down in foreign airports. Korean missions overseas also provide accurate and real-time information about evolution of a pandemic and quarantine policies of relevant authorities through SNS. Second, Korea is using digital technologies to further expand diplomatic activities. From the outbreak of the pandemic, the Korean government has held a series of webinars to explore regional cooperation for health security and share Korea's quarantine experiences with global partners. In particular, the Seoul P4G Green Growth Summit has successfully held last May, simultaneously both online and offline. This hybrid-style summit has become one of the best practices for international events at the time of global pandemic. Third, Korean MOFA is working to transform the paradigm of public diplomacy into digital public diplomacy to overcome challenges in COVID-19. While offline and face-to-face events have become restricted because of COVID-19, digital technology enables us to overcome limitation of the location and audience in the public diplomacy. Thus, we launched a new social media platform called Koreas to communicate better with much broader audience and jointly respond to the crisis. One of the most successful social media campaigns is Live Together campaign. The Korean MOFA launched Live Together campaign together with UNESCO last March to support the initiative of international community against racism. More than 5 million people in about 100 countries supported this campaign and contributed to raising global awareness against racism. Ladies and gentlemen, the COVID-19 pandemic provides us with a momentum to enhance awareness of need to action toward global issues such as health security and climate change. I believe that digital diplomacy can be a useful tool to better connect, respect, and protect all people in area of COVID-19. Thank you for your attention.
Thank you. For the next speaker, the representative of Thailand. The screen is yours.
Excellencies, ladies and gentlemen, the COVID-19 pandemic was so unprecedented and continues to have a profound effect on the lives of millions of people around the world. This crisis not only caused great losses, frustration, inconvenience, but also destabilized communities. Nonetheless, it has transformed the way we live and interact with each other. Most importantly, it accelerates the global digitalization process to such a pace that was not possible in normal circumstances. No one could imagine that working from home and joining online meetings or webinars would become the norm as in the past 2 years. The crisis is yet to end. And as we start to adjust to our new normal lives, crisis management and crisis communication will remain at the core of our work. Digital diplomacy is indeed a part of this new normal. Thailand has focused on using digital diplomacy as an important tool in public diplomacy for many years to win hearts and minds. Building influence using new digital tools needs to be authentic, engaging, and purposeful, as digital diplomacy is online statecraft that brings people together. It brings policymakers closer to the public, is a helpful tool that enables us to take part in global affairs, and encourages vibrant and engaged citizens. For Thailand, communicating to the domestic audience was essential to building understanding of government prevention policy and measures. But with the multitude of players in every country, this communication has been quite a challenge, including dealing with the infodemic and flood of fake news related to the pandemic. Without doubt, digital diplomacy played a crucial role in managing this crisis. Our social media platforms became the main channel to communicate with the public, and new digital technologies were developed. Communicating with other countries also was and remains crucial during the pandemic. This communication has become the context for more collaboration, or so-called vaccine diplomacy. During the pandemic, our consular services to Thai citizens and foreign tourists could not resume as usual. Entering Thailand was a challenge because of new travel requirements such as the proof of tests and vaccine certificates. Many of our services therefore turned fully digital to provide services to the general public while maintaining social distance, such as e-visa that allows submitting visa application online and the issuance of certificates of entry, COE. As in other countries, our diplomats and staff worked from home and attended meetings online. During this time, they were able to enhance digital skills to meet the demand for social distancing. Hopefully, we will come out of this crisis with improved efficiency and skill sets. I wish the conference every success. We are undergoing our internal process for the Cabinet to approve the Bali message on international cooperation in digital diplomacy and will convey our support soonest. Like Charles Darwin said, it is not the strongest of the species that survive, nor the most intelligent, but the one more responsive to change. COVID-19 might be another test of mankind's ability to adapt to unexpected circumstances. One of the ways that we can respond to any change is to share information and work with each other. I hope that the ICDD Forum will be the beginning of the new era of even stronger cooperation on digital diplomacy for the years to come. Thank you, and Sawadee krap.
Thank you. Our next speaker, the representative of the United States of America. The screen is yours.
Hi, I'm Richard Boyangan, Principal Deputy Assistant Secretary of State for Global Public Affairs at the U.S. Department of State, and I'm delighted to be joining you for the International Conference on Digital Diplomacy. I'd like to thank the Government of Indonesia, and especially Her Excellency Retno Marsudi, Minister for Foreign Affairs of the Republic of Indonesia, for convening this event. As we all know, and have seen confirmed over the last year, digital diplomacy is fundamental to how we operate. In October, Secretary Blinken delivered a major address outlining how the Biden administration will modernize American diplomacy and how we will place digital diplomacy at the center of this effort. As Secretary Blinken said, we have a major stake in shaping the digital revolution and making sure that it serves our people, protects our interests, boosts our competitiveness, and upholds our values. The standards that govern new technology should ensure quality, protect consumer health and safety, facilitate trade, and respect human rights. We want to prevent cyber incidents that place our people, networks, companies, and critical infrastructure at risk. We want the internet to remain a transformative force for knowledge sharing, for connection and conversation, for economic growth, not a tool of repression. We want to make sure that technology works for democracy, fighting back against disinformation, standing up for internet freedom, and reducing the misuse of surveillance technology. And we want to promote cooperation, advancing this agenda with democratic partners by our side. To support these goals, Secretary Blinken announced that the department, with the support of Congress, will seek to establish a new Bureau for Cyberspace and Digital Policy headed by an ambassador at large, and to name a new special envoy for critical and emerging technology. You will be hearing more about these announcements in the weeks ahead. These developments recognize the importance of harnessing digital technologies for our work addressing some of the most complex challenges facing the globe, from advancing democratic renewal to gender equality to sustainable development. In addition, we are working with the private sector on the next generation of technologies that will power a clean economy of the future. We are also looking internally at how we, as American diplomats, use digital tools in our day-to-day operations and how we can modernize our diplomacy to be more efficient, transparent, and accessible. But as we do this, Secretary Blinken has also asked us to reinvigorate in-person diplomacy and public engagement as the COVID-19 pandemic begins to wane and people start meeting again, face-to-face. For all the benefits of new technologies, there's no substitute for face-to-face engagement. We know that's true, just as we recognize the importance of digital diplomacy. What matters is people. There are real people on the other side of digital. As you participate in this conference, and we move forward in our professional careers, we must consider how our institutions can help shape a digital world that upholds our values and best serves our peoples.
Excellencies, distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for the valuable views of your respective country. We have concluded the country's review session. I thank you. Now, I would like to invite my colleague, Mr. Purno, to continue with the program.
Thank you, DGs, for assisting their excellencies on the country's review. Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we have gained valuable insight on how digital diplomacy is utilized for crisis management and what are the opportunities of digital diplomacy that we can benefit from. Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, allow me to bridge you to the next program with a short video showcasing our experience in digital diplomacy. Excellencies, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, we have concluded the opening session and we will begin the panel session shortly. Please allow me to kindly invite you to access and enter www.icdd.kemlu.go.id and click the panels button in the website. You could also access and find the email from the committee, which you can directly click the meeting link of the panels you have registered to. The panel discussion will start at 15:50 Central Indonesian Time. If you have any technical questions about the panel session, please kindly inform us through the chat box or question and answer columns of your Zoom platform. Thank you and have fruitful discussion.